Okay. Yes, good morning to one and all. So today I am going to take the session about the cascading style sheet. So this is an important topic in HTML because you are using an HTML for creating a web page, for designing the presentation. Okay, you are going for style sheet. Okay. So what is an CSS? So basically CSS stands for the cascading style sheet. The abbreviation stands for this is a cascading style sheet. Why? So what it describes is it describes how the HTML elements are to be displayed on the screen or paper or in other media. Okay, so this is the basic meaning for CSS. It describes the element, the HTML elements. Say for example, if you have body or paragraph, if you have any other HTML elements inside the HTML markup language, that HTML elements should be displayed, okay, displayed based upon the CSS property. So what is the use of CSS is it will describe the properties of the HTML element, and it combines the CSS combines with the HTML element, and the HTML coding will display on the screen. Okay, so what it appear is it will create a design of the HTML element. Say for example, if you have the body background color is blue, okay, then the color blue is set through the cascading style sheet. So this is the basic information about CSS. So what it saves, by using CSS we can save a lot of work. What is that? It can able to control the layout of multiple web pages all at once. Suppose you have an web page made up of an HTML, okay, multiple web pages made up of HTML, and the multiple web pages have the same property, that is a background color is blue, then we can create a single CSS file, okay, and this file is applied to all the multiple web pages. So what happened, instead of creating a single CSS file for this all web pages, you can use a single CSS style sheet, and you can link that style sheet either through the inline coding or through external link to the multiple web pages. So what happened here, it saves a lot of work, okay, it saves a lot of work for creating the properties to the multiple web pages. Okay, next thing is external style sheets are stored in CSS file. So what happened is, if you are creating a CSS file, there are three types for creating CSS file. Okay, one is inline, another is embedded, and third one is external. So what is the advantage of using external style sheet is the external style sheet can be linked to the multiple web pages. So these are the general information about the CSS. Motivation of this CSS is it describes is the HTML markup can be used to represent the semantics. So you have the markup language. Say for example, H1 is the meaning for H1 is it is a header tag. Okay, so that header tag will be displayed at the top, that is top level heading. Okay, that is the meaning. So we have many markup languages like H1. Okay, so this will give the meaning, only the meaning, not the presentation. Look how the elements. So if you have an H1 tag, the H1 element inside the content, heading content, how it is displayed, that information is missing. Okay, how to create that presentation is what the H1 content family, font family look like, or how the alignment should look like. Okay, then so similarly we can have many properties. That properties can be given with the help of a presentation only. Okay, so we have semantics as well as presentation. In presentation, only the H1 elements look a certain way. Okay, what it looks a certain way is it will have only the meaning. The presentation should be like what properties it should be applied. Say for example, H1 should be, the H1 heading should be in what color. That presentation should be appeared in this property. Okay. Next, so basically we have a meaning as well as presentation, the semantics, the content, what you are using in markup language, and how that content should be appear in your web page. So that is the presentation. So it is very care to separate the semantics from the presentation. Why it is advisable to separate these two files, semantics HTML file as well as the presentation CSS file? Because it is, first point is, it is easier to present document on multiple platform. That is, if you take the web page, it will be displayed in a desktop browser, otherwise it will be displayed in the cell phone environment. Okay, so if you represent semantics and present in separate way, so we can use the presentation appear in browser to be different and the presentation appearance for the cell phone to be different. Okay, so that is the advisable thing, to separate these semantics as well as presentation content. Okay, next thing is, it is easier to generate documents with consistent look. Okay, so if you generate an HTML combined with the CSS, so if your document will look more very complex thing. So we have, say for example, if we have 100 elements and we have 100 CSS property. Okay, and what happen is, it's very complicated. The program, the HTML document will look very complicated. So it is advisable to separate the semantics as well as presentation to make the document with consistent look. Okay. The third point is, the semantic and presentation changes can be made independently of one another. What it means is, if you want any content to be added in a HTML file, okay, you can simply change the semantics of the document. Okay, that is the markup tag, you can able to change it. Okay, then if you want to change any properties of the HTML page, then change the presentation file. That's both things act as an independent file. Okay, so if you want, sometimes if you want to add more information, semantics will be needed. Sometimes if you want to add any properties more, then we need a presentation. So both things, both these semantics and presentation should be separate independent file. So the changes made will not be affect each other. Okay. Next thing is, user control of presentation also is facilitated. So these the user can able to control the presentation. How the user can able to control the presentation is, if you take any web browser, okay, and inside the web browser there is a control to change the presentation style. Okay, style 1, style 2, style 3, like different style sheet informations are available. So with the help of browser, the user can able to switch over to different available style sheets, so that the web document will appear differently. Okay. Next, the languages, style sheet languages, here is CSS. Okay, W3 consortium, they have created a style sheet, a standard style sheet information, so that can be applied to your HTML file as well as XHTML. Okay, so it applies to the XHTML as well as the XML file. XML is an extensible markup language document in general. So the CSS can be applied either to the HTML, okay, as well as to the XML document. Okay. Next thing is, what is XSL? Extensible Style Sheet Language. So here you are using CSS in XML file. So that is the meaning for Extensible Style Sheet Language. The combination of XML and CSS is XSL. Okay. So what here is, it is often used to transform one XML document to another form, but it can also add style. That means, so if you are using an XML document, basically the XML document is used to transfer the web content from one destination to one source to another destination. Okay, so here you can also add the style sheet information. How the style sheet can be added? With the help of CSS. So we have a separate concept called XSL. Okay, with the help of XSL language, we can also add styles to the XML document. Now, I will tell the steps how the style sheet is working. Okay, you assume you have style sheet 1. Okay, how the style sheet 1 file will work. Okay, you take the first step is start with a document. Your document is HTML document that has been marked up in HTML or XHTML. Okay, you have to create a document. So that is the initial step to start with style sheet work. So where the style sheet going to be applied, inside the HTML or XHTML. So the first step is you have to create a document. Next, the second step is write the style rules for how you would like the certain elements to look. So now the style, where you are going to write the style rules for this created HTML or XHTML file. Second step is you have to create CSS file separately or inside the program inline style. Okay, by generating several rules okay, inside the style sheet file. Okay, that rules can be applied to the HTML elements. Okay, third point is attach the style rules to the document. When the browser displays the document, it follows your rules for rendering element. So what happen here is, if you are, say for example, we have an HTML element H1. We have the element H1. What happened? We have many many properties are available. Okay, say H1 as the font size is 12 pixel. Okay, that is the first rule. Okay, next thing is again I'm changing the font size as 24 pixel. So the order is how the order of the rule is taken is the last one. I said H1 of font size 24 pixel will be taken. So you have to define the rules for the corresponding HTML elements. So by these rules only the style sheet will work. Okay, so attach the next point, attach the style sheet to the document. Your document is a HTML document. So whenever the browser renders your document, it will follow the rules which have been created before the document is executed. Okay, you have to attach the style rules to the document. So when the browser displays the document, automatically it follows the certain rules what you are created inside the style sheets. Okay, by follows the rules, and finally it will render your HTML element. So this is the three-step process illustrates how the style sheet is working. Okay, so again I am repeating, it is you have to create a document either HTML or XHTML. Write the style rules separately. Okay, then the rule should be followed in the corresponding HTML or XHTML file. Next, you have to attach the style rules to the document. So whenever the browser displays the document, it will work based upon the style rules given to the document. And finally, your web page is rendered with the following HTML elements. So this is one example. See here, we have an HTML document. Say, we have in HTML we have body part as well as the paragraph part here. Okay, this flower part indicates, this flower bracket part indicates, the curly brace part indicates the properties. Okay, so see here the property here is the body background. So how you are going to change the body background is you have to apply the property background hyphen color colon, the color is lime. Okay, so ultimately what happened, your background color of your HTML web page will be changed. Okay, next thing is paragraph. The font size is another property. Okay, to change the font. Okay, here X large mention is very large. We have double X large, larger. Okay, there are many variations in size, we can see later. So here the given in this example it is given as X large, and the background color is given as property as yellow. So you have to use a semicolon. Okay, so suppose you are applying multiple properties for the same element, say for example paragraph, you have to use a semicolon, okay, and all the properties are enclosed inside the curly braces. So this part is given in the style sheet, that is style sheet style1.css file. Our file name is style1.css file. When you are using style1.css file to this HTML file, okay, what happen is it will the HTML document will render with this following properties. That is body background is color is lime, and your content, the paragraph content is large, as well as the paragraph background is yellow. See here, as I said, the user can able to control it. Okay, so how the user can able to control it in browser? This is it's a Mozilla Firefox browser. You can also use Internet Explorer or Google Chrome browser. In the browser, we have a menu called View. Under the View, we have a list. In the View, we have a list called Use Style. Click that Use Style. Use Style. Then we have a basic page style information. That is style 1, style 2. So as per this example, we have two style sheets has been created. The user can switch over either style 1 or style 2 properties. The style 1 properties, as I said, it's a background color is lime and it has a paragraph content. Then background color is yellow for the paragraph. So next thing is how you are going to link the style sheet. Link the style sheet. You can link the style sheet in the HTML code where the style sheet is introduced in your HTML code is see here in the header part. See in the header part it is included. Okay, so this is one way to link your style sheet. Okay, see here we have a tag is link. Okay, and the relation is equal to what relation it refers is style sheet information, and the type is text bar CSS file. Okay, then the reference, the link is the link href refers to the link, that URL information is that here the file name information is style1.css, and title which is given is for this link is style1. Similarly, then we have title is equal to style2. In style2 we have another. In style2, this is the style2.css. Look here, the font size is smaller and letter space is one emphasized text. See here we have space between each and every character inside the text. So this is one style. Okay, and totally we have two style for this HTML document, and the content for this style is hello world. Okay, so what happened here? So why this two line of information is given in this head part is the user can able to switch over between style 1 and style 2. So the second is an alternative style. So we have multiple alternates can be created with the same syntax. Okay, we can able to create multiple alternate style sheets. So user can able to switch over between. So user can able to switch over between varieties of style sheets. Okay. Next thing is how the document is displayed on the multiple media platforms. So see here we have many media platforms are available. Okay, so the CSS will work on different media platforms. So you have to that the presentation should be or the presentation of your HTML document should be displayed in variety of environment. Okay, media environment. Say it's a projector screen, TV. Okay, then projection. So these are variety of media projection. Okay, desktop screen, TV and projection. Okay, so these are variety of medias. So all the things what happen, this style1.css property will work. Okay, so the single document it can be able to display it on multimedia platform. So how it can be displayed, how it is support, how the styles1.c is supporting. So by giving a attribute name is equal to media, is equal to, what is the attribute value is given here is screen comma TV comma projection. So whatever the appearance created in style1.css, so all the appearance will be displayed in screen, TV and projector. Okay. So next thing is how the documents are going to printed. Okay. See here we have the again we have media is equal to handheld comma print. So what happen if you give media is equal to print, this document will be printed differently than it is displayed. So for printing purpose, okay, for printing purpose how the style sheet is appeared. So here we have a handheld is one part of printing device, okay, and the print is another part of printing device. So we have two handheld device as well as printing device. Okay. So you can, by giving this attribute, the style will adjust. Okay, the style will adjust with the help of adjust for handheld as well as print. Okay. Next thing is we are going to see the CSS syntax. So in previous thing we have seen all the CSS concepts. Okay, like how the CSS is working. Now we are going in depth how the CSS will look like, okay, and what is the syntax which is used for creating the CSS. Okay, what is a CSS rule set? So CSS rule set, it consists of a selector and a declaration block. Okay, so this is a rule set. So we need a selector as well as a declaration block. So in previous case we have a paragraph P and the property as what? The font size is X large and what is the background color is yellow. So that is a concept here. P is a selector and within the block, the declaration block, it represents the property and the value. It's a general syntax. Okay, it's a general syntax to create a CSS rule. So for one selector you can create multiple properties. This is another rule set. See here, for one selector you can create one property. For one selector you can create multiple properties. So you have to know what is a selector. So selector is an HTML element, nothing but your selector is an HTML element. Okay, inside the HTML element you are doing some what is that, you are going to doing some property changes. Okay, that property changes has been given inside the declaration block. Okay, so you can either single property can be applied or multiple property can be applied for the selector. See here, the example here, P is a selector string. Okay, the next thing is that it's a declaration block. Okay, open as well as close. Inside the declaration block we have two property. Okay, the property 1 is font size and the property 2 is background color, and the colon represents what value is. The font size is given as X large and background color is yellow. So this is the example for what style rule. Now we are moving to in depth of CSS selector. So what is a CSS selector? CSS selector are used to find or select the HTML element based on their element name or ID or class attribute and or more. Okay, that is the meaning for CSS selector. Okay, so it is, the selector chooses. Okay, the selector will chooses the HTML element. Okay, based upon these thing. One thing is element name, as a H1, H2, paragraph. Okay, so that's how comes under element name. ID. So ID is an unique identifier created for the paragraph. Okay, then class, the group of HTML elements. Attribute, the value. So these based upon these things, okay, the CSS selectors are used. Now we are going to see varieties of selectors. The first, the basic selector is the element selector. So the element, what is the element selector? The element selector selects element based on the element name. What happened here is the element name is the element selector. Okay, So here the element selector selects the element. Okay, how the selector string is working. Here the selector string is element name. Our P is an paragraph element name. inside inside the element selector, the declaration inside the declaration block, what we are given here is properties, two properties, that is text property as well as the color property, font color property. The text align is given as a center and color is given as red. So this is one example for element selector. We have chosen the element name as the element selector. Next thing is ID selector. So what is the use of ID selector is, the ID selector uses the ID attribute, okay, it uses ID attribute of each and every HTML element to select a specific element. Okay, so that is the use of ID selector. So it usually based upon the ID attribute only, it will select a specific element. Next thing is, the ID of an element should be unique within a page. So the ID selector is used to select one unique element. So underline this point, what is because the ID selector is have a uniqueness. Okay, it is used to select only one unique element. In HTML we have many multiple elements, okay, but you are using an ID, okay, ID selector. So what happened here is, it is used to select only one unique element. Next thing is to select an element with a specific ID. So how to select an element with a specific ID? You have to write a hash character followed by the ID of the element. So you have to create the element. See here we have a element name is para1, and the element before the element we have to create a hash. Okay, you have to create a hash. Okay, so for paragraph, okay, this is a paragraph example. Okay, we are using a ID selector, and here we are using ID is equal to para1. In paragraph we are using paragraph tag ID space equal to para1. So you are referring the corresponding para with the unique ID para1. So you have to create an CSS file. So how to create a CSS file is, you have to write an hash, okay, followed by the ID name, then the declaration block. So what happened here is, whenever you have the in your document you have the ID para1, then that only we have only one para1, okay, in your document, that para1 will be changed, that paragraph will be only changed, only single paragraph only will be changed, because we are referring you are referring an ID is equal to para1. It's a unique ID. Okay, so what is the meaning of unique ID? It will select only one unique element, okay, inside your web document. Okay. Next thing is the class selector. So what is the use of class selector is, class selector selects elements with a specific class attribute. Okay, so we are using this class selector. Okay, it will choose only the specific class attribute inside your web document. To select elements with a specific class, so you have to write a period within bracket, that is a dot. You have to use a period character followed by the name of the class. So how to create a class selector? See here I am created in this program I have created a class selector. So how it is represented in a CSS is dot class selector. Dot is represent for the class selector. So when the elements when the HTML elements as equivalent to center, then that HTML element comes under the class selector. Okay, so for that if you want to change that HTML element, then the center property is applied to the respective HTML element. Okay, so in this example, all HTML element with the class equal to what? We have many HTML elements inside the program, that inside the HTML document. Okay, that HTML document has say for example paragraph h1. So if you create a paragraph class equal to center, then h1 class equal to center, then what happen is we have two paragraph as well as paragraph as well as heading tag, the class becomes center. Then how you are going to change paragraph as well as heading tag based upon the class selector property. See how the class selector property is created with the help of period, the class selector name, then declaration property. So H1 and the paragraph will be adjusted to center alignment, and color will be changes to the red. So this is an example for the class selector. And one more example. Here in this example, only paragraph element with the class equal to center will be center aligned, because see here in previous cases we used dot then followed by class selector name. In this case we are going to change, okay, we are applying the class selector property to particularly only one element. That is a paragraph, a single paragraph element, p dot. So this suppose if you want to change h1, then h1 dot center. Okay, if you want to change any other element, then the HTML element dot center. So by this you can apply the class selector to an individual element. Then HTML elements can also refer to more than one class. So here we have example paragraph element. The paragraph element will be styled according to class equal to center as well as the class equal to large. Okay, so we have two classes. See here, center and large is entirely different classes. So for a single HTML element, you can apply two classes, center and large. Center means the content will appear at the center of the web page, and the large means your text will be very the paragraph content will be very large. So for you are using two different properties, that center as well as large. That center has a separate class selector file and large a separate class selector class selector. By combining these two classes, okay, see here you have to give a space between the class name, okay, center space large. If you merge center large, then it will not work, okay. So you have to be very careful in giving the class name, two class name which is applied to a single HTML element, okay. So this paragraph, it refers to two classes, okay. And last one is grouping selector. So what happened? The better option is grouping selector, because it will minimize your code, okay. So that is the thing for using grouping selector, because for if you take say for example h1, h2 paragraph, how many elements we have? 3 elements, okay. We have 3 HTML elements. Suppose you are using element selector h1 text align color red, next thing h2 text align color red, next paragraph text align color red. So what happened? You are the same property, but you are duplicating the code for different HTML element. So what happened? The code, the style code get very large, okay. So in order to minimize the repetition of the similar properties for all the for multiple HTML elements, you can combine all the HTML element, that is by grouping. So by grouping different HTML element, so we need we have to create a group selector. So the group selector is separate each selector with a comma. See here, this is a group selector h1 comma h2 comma p, okay. So we have three HTML element, and you have to create a property, okay. So you have to create a selector. So here you have to combine all this, you have to group all the selector with the help of comma operator. So what happens when you execute the content with h1 h2 paragraph inside the web document, automatically the alignment of h1 h2 p becomes center, then automatically the color of h1 h2 and p paragraph content will become red. So it's better to group the selector which is having what similar properties. So So what is the advantages here is in the grouping selector it will reduce the code. Okay. So it's a summary of the selector string. Okay. So this is an, as I said, it's an element selector. We have only single element. Okay, single element type, and in the declaration block we have many multiple property here. What is the property name is font size smaller, and letter spacing is another property. 1M emphasized text. Okay, so by using semicolon you can separate multiple properties. Next thing is multiple elements. There is grouping selector. Okay, group selector. See here multiple selectors are available: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. So multiple elements. So what is the property here is background color is purple. Okay, the color of all the heading. So heading, as I said, the H1 has very large size compared to H2, and H2 is very large compared to H3, and H3 is very large compared to H4, and H4 is very large compared to H5, and H5 is very large to compared to H6. The size get increased from H6 to H1. So H1 has maximum and H6 has minimum. So that is a heading tag, as I already said in HTML topic. Okay. So what happened here is you are using 6 heading tag inside your web document. So automatically 6 heading tag background will be changed to the purple. Next thing is all element type. So in your web document you are creating this is one type of HTML element. This is P is another type of HTML element. Similarly, we have multiple variety of HTML elements available. So so you have to choose all. Okay, you have to choose all the element. Okay, then you have to use an asterisk symbol. Okay, the multiplication symbol. Okay, so this star denotes the selecting all element type. That is also known as it's a universal selector. So what is a universal selector is it chooses all element type, either H1 or paragraph or list or so whatever. Okay, body. Okay, whatever the element which is inside the web document, that thing is chosen by the universal selector. See here inside the universal selector, what the property is given is bold, the font weight. Okay, the weight is given here is bold. Next thing is specific element. So as I already said, you have to, if you want to change any specific element elements inside the web document, we need a ID selector. How you can identify the ID selector? The ID selector is identified by the preceded element with the hashtag. Okay, the preceded element, see here P1 is paragraph 1, P3 is another paragraph. Okay, we have 2 paragraphs, and the 2 paragraphs are identified by with the help of hash. Okay, hash P1 and hash P3. 2 paragraphs are identified by hash P1 and hash P3. For 2 paragraphs, the background color is aqua. Okay, so this is a summary of selector string, varieties of selector string: element selector, okay, multiple group type selector, group selector, universal selector, ID selector. Okay, now you can see the output of this selector string. Okay, see here, here paragraph chosen ID is equal to P3. Okay, so P3 is an ID selector. How you can represent ID selector in CSS file is, see here, hash P3. So what is the background color of P3? Aqua. See, you can notice this is paragraph 3. Okay, the paragraph, the background color is changes to what? Aqua color. Okay. The font size is, the paragraph font size is smaller, and letter spacing is 1M. See here, the paragraph font size is 1 EM. We have 1 EM spacing. That is 1 emphasized text spacing. The element belonging to the style class. See here, we have ID selector as well as the class selector. 2 different selectors can be combined. Okay, 2 different selector. Okay, that is, this belongs to ID selector. How you can say this is ID selector? Because it is preceded with hash. How you are saying that it is a class selector? Because it is preceded by dot. Okay, so these two different class selector takes the similar property. What the similar property is? Italic. Okay, check the paragraph 4 as well as the take note class. So you can notice this line, it is comes under italic. Okay, then paragraph 4, okay, the paragraph 4 also what happened? Italic. Okay, next thing is the elements of the certain type and class. So see here we have we have this inline elements called span. Okay, so what is the use of inline element is you can inside the paragraph you can apply this kind of inside any HTML element you can apply the spanning that is inline element. Particularly if you want to change particularly you want to change any content inside the inside any paragraph or a class a paragraph or any heading. Okay, sorry, paragraph. Okay, you have to use a span. Okay, what happen is you can apply the class selector to the span, that is inline element 2. Okay, that is the meaning here. So the span belongs to 3 style classes. Okay, see here we have style class is, one is take note, and special is another class, and cool is another class. So to this example illustrates you can apply style to the span, okay, inline elements. Okay, that inline elements will take the property of 3 different class. Okay, 3 different class. Okay, next thing is if you want to choose a particular class only, so we have 1, 2, 3 class. If you want to use only particular, then you can use span dot special. You can use span dot special and you can apply the property. So this rule applies only to span belonging to the class special. Okay, so for example, suppose if you mention dot special, then it will be applied to all the HTML element. Okay, but if you are specifying only span dot special means then for only HTML only for span inline elements only the special class property will be applied. Okay, next thing is anchor element. So anchor element basically it's used for link purpose or reference purpose. Okay, if you want to create a hyperlink, okay, then anchor elements and the anchor tag is used. Suppose if you want to change the color property based upon the action based upon the action given to the anchor element. Okay, so that thing is possible with the help of selector string. See here, initially the color of the link is black. Okay, so after clicking that hyperlink, then the color is changed to yellow. Okay, then if you move the hover, what is mean hover is, suppose I move to this is an example for one hyper link, that is anchor element. Suppose I move this mouse pointer to this link, okay, this link, automatically the color here will be changed to green. Okay, this color is this color will be changed to green color. That is the meaning for hovering, moving the mouse pointer over the link. Next thing is active. Okay, that means the initial if you click that link, then if it is alive or not alive, so how you can represent the link is active by with the help of the color representation is red. So you can this is not a fixed color, you can able to change the color. Okay, so apply this color property to this action. Okay, so for the website reference link, okay, link, visited, hover and active. Next thing is element types that are descendant. What is the descendant here is you are using list, okay, how you are using list as an example here. Descendant, that is meaning, what is the meaning here? Descendant is, list is an example for descendant element type, because in you are going to create a list with li, okay, then the list is comes under two types, that is order list and unordered list. So the descendant properties, the whole list is having one property, and the descendant elements OL and unordered list, so the descendant property also, the letter spacing is equal to 1 EM. So this kind of for these kinds of element types, the selectors are applied. Okay, the selectors are applied. We have three selectors, UL, OL and LI. The selectors for these kind of list selectors, okay, the letter spacing given is 1 EM. Here the rule applies to the, this rule is 1 EM, it is applies to LI, where then that is a part of the content of an order list, okay, that is a part of the content of order list. Then UL, okay, this is also part of the content of the UL, okay, UL elements, okay. So next thing is style rules, okay. As I said earlier, this is a second steps for style sheet working process, okay. So first step is to create an HTML document, then second step you have to create style rule. What the style rule here is, the rule set syntax. The style rule always follows the rule set syntax, and here we have another rule is at rule, okay. At rule is a second type of rule. Say at rule is a second type of rule. So where it is used is, so here we are going to apply this for a single document, we are going to apply multiple style sheets, okay. How you are going to import the style sheet in your web document is, you have to use an at import. You have to use at rule is at import and URL information. Our URL information is what the general rules dot CSS. So this URL is relative to the style sheet URL. Okay, this URL will link to the style sheet URL. So the style sheet will always follow rule set. The rule set is defined in style sheet, separate style sheet. Okay, that reference is always given in your web document as at import, and the URL within double quotes you have to give the URL file. You have to give the CSS file. The CSS file here is general rules. So the general rules, what are the general rules available for creating the style sheets, that is available in general rules.css. So if you write the coding in HTML, okay, and you are applying the style sheet, this general rule is applicable. So you need to import this URL, okay, general rules.css, okay. Next thing is, so what happens is, it reads the style rules from the specified URL. So you either it is the general rules will be taken from the W3 website, or the rules can be defined by the user. Okay, so the rules will be read from the specified URL given in the within the double quotes. Next thing is, it must appear at the beginning of the style sheet. So always at import will be appear at the beginning of the style sheet. So whenever you create a style sheets in that is a document, web document, so the rules should be applied. The rules, so what rules should be applied should be linked with the help of URL. Then then this information at import rule should be appear at the beginning of the style sheets. Okay. Now we are going to see where you are going to attach the style sheets to the document. Okay. So there are different ways to attach the style sheets to the HTML document. The first one is external style sheets. There are two ways to refer an external style sheet from within the XHTML document. The first one is the link element, and second one is at import. So already as I said, what is the use of at import? It will the general rules about CSS will be referenced in URL path. Okay, this URL path. Okay, now you see the link element. It's a HTML element. Inside the link you are specifying the relationships equal to style sheet, reference equal to the path of the style sheet. The style sheet file name is stylesheet.css. So you have to give the location path of the style sheet, and what the type of the style sheet is combination of text slash CSS. So this so here inside the head you have to include the external style field inside the header part. Okay, you should not include in the body part. You have to include this link in header part. Similarly, you have to include the @import rule at the header part. Okay, @import at the header part, and this syntax is entirely different from the second one. See, you can notice you are using a style tag. You are using inside header part. You are using style tag open as well as style tag enter. So inside the style style tag only you are going to import the rules. Okay, the stylesheet.css. Okay, then see here inside style tag we have another HTML element is paragraph. For the paragraph, for the font face is Verdana. So what happened? You are importing the rule at the beginning itself. You are importing the rule at the beginning itself. So inside what is that is the meaning for @import rule. Okay, you are inserting the rule at the beginning of your document, the beginning where the document begins in the header part only. The next part is the body part. Okay, so always you have to remember the import rules rule should be displayed should be entered in the header part only. Okay. Next thing is embedded style sheet. So what is a embedded style sheet? It is placed in a document using style element, and its rules apply only to that document. See here embedded, again it is somewhat similar like import. So you are using import style, in import rule you are navigating to this path. Okay, as a link you are navigating to this path, whereas in the embedded style we are not going to navigate anywhere. Okay, we are going to define the style rule inside the header part itself. That is, you are going to embed what type of styles applying to the respective element and its rule inside the heading itself. Okay, so that is an embedded style sheet. Okay, in previous thing you can notice this paragraph comes under embedded style sheet. This paragraph, see here you can notice the paragraph has font face Verdana. Okay, it is not in the body part, it is in the header part. Okay, so the rules the property and its rule is defined inside the style. Okay, next thing is inline style sheet. So you can apply the properties and value to a single element using style attribute in the element itself. So in the body part of HTML document, okay, in say for example in the body part we have h1 element, okay, and the content is introduction and this is end tag. You can see in h1 beginning tag here the property for h1 is given. It is inline. Okay, this is inline with h1. Okay, it is not, it's somewhere else. h1 property is not in somewhere header part, or h1 property is not in another external file. It is in inline. Okay, that is what is the meaning for inline is it is in nearer to the element itself. The style is given very nearer to the element itself. Okay, so you can by this you can change the property of HTML element in see here style. You have to use the attribute name is equal to style and the value is given. Similarly, you can change variety of style property, okay, for h1. Okay. Next topic is CSS rule cascade. So what is the rule cascade is the rule cascade determines which style rules declaration is applied. Okay, that is a rule cascading. So we have multiple style declaration applied to the property of an element. Okay, applied to the property of an element. Okay, so the browser should decide which rule is applied. Okay, so how it is done? We have a technique called CSS rule cascading. Okay, what is the rule says is in which order the property is chosen. We see you have universal selector. This P3 indicates a paragraph selector and ID unique paragraph selector. Okay, so if you take a star universal selector, universal selector is applied for the paragraph also. Okay, so for a para we have the font weight bold. Again for the same para we have the font weight normal. So there will be some confusion or in choosing which will be appeared in the screen. Okay, in the web browser screen, either bold or normal. So that order, okay, that deciding, okay, that thing will be given in the rule, CSS rule cascading. So this rule is defined. This rule will determine either the font should be bold or the font should be normal. Okay, that is a CSS rule cascading. Now you are going to see the style sheet hierarchy. How the style sheet hierarchy looks like. Okay, see here the style information can come from various sources. Various sources mean it can be come from embedded, it can be come from external. Okay, it can be come for at import URL. Then here from the general to specific items lower in the list will overwrite the items above them. Okay, so what happened here is specific items lower in the list will overwrite items above them. So which will be overwrite? See, this is the order. By default browser settings will be chosen. Then how the rules has been override is see here this browser default setting is override by the user stage. Are you agree with this? Yes, definitely. So user can change the style. Okay, style 1 and style 2 in the view menu. Next, yes, this user style also can be changed override with the linked external style sheet. So compared to first one, this has a more priority. Okay, compared to second one, third one has more priority. Compared with the third one, the importer style sheet, fourth one has more priority. Okay, then compare with the fourth that is import function, embedded style sheets has more priority. Then embedded style compared with inline style sheet, inline has more priority. Inline style has more priority. Then also in inline, if the rule is marked by exclamatory mark important by the author, then that is more priority compared to inline style rule. Suppose if it is important marked by the user, then that is more important compared with the important marked by the author. So in this, the items lower in the list will overwrite items above them. So what happened here is this exclamatory mark important by the reader will overwrite important by the author. This will overwrite inline. This will overwrite embedded. This will overwrite imported. Imported will overwrite linked. Linked will be overwrite by user. User settings will be overwrite by browser. Okay. So that's the thing. Okay. So lowest get maximum priority. So many rules, okay, see many styles has been created, okay, in different ways. See, this is a style sheet hierarchy. Different ways the styles are created. Okay, as I said, linked, imported, embedded, inline comes under different types of style sheets. Okay, as well as you can by settings we have because we have multiple types of browsers like Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Opera. Okay, their browsers default settings will be differ. Then default settings is the style appearance will be differ. Okay, and user can able to switch over the style settings. Okay, so we have different hierarchy, that is style sheets comes at different hierarchy, and which will be which style will be finally chosen by the document, and it is rendered in your output web page. Okay, that is a important thing. So that thing is given as a rule cascade. Okay. See here, the most important is highest priority in CSS to accommodate user with special need. As I said, the last point, adding important is the most important, highest priority. Okay, this highest priority cascading rule will be taken. Okay, compare it to default settings. See here, we have the flow diagram. Okay, see here, we have multiple alternative style sheets comes from link. Okay, select the style sheet and insert the rules for HTML attribute. Okay, then prioritize the declaration by origin and the weight. So what they are going to do is prioritize. Okay, based upon the cascading rule, it will prioritize the declaration by the origin and the weight. If there is a tie, okay, then break the tie based upon the specificity. Okay, what is the style attribute or most specific selector. Okay, so we have either style attribute or most specific selector. Then in HTML elements, the style for single same HTML element, the style the different styles are available. So there will be a tie for the style. Okay, so based upon the specificity. Okay, specificity means style attribute or most specific selector value. Okay, next thing is the break ties based on the position within the style sheet. What is the position is within the style sheet? The last occurring will win. Suppose assume we have a paragraph. Okay, the paragraph has 3 styles. Okay, inline styles. Okay, so which will win means the last style definition only wins. Okay, so that is the order. Okay, so specificity, what is the meaning for that break ties based on specificity is the style attribute or rule with the ID selector or the HTML attribute. So this is a specificity. Based upon the specificity, the style will be changed. Okay, and the position. Okay, and the position of the style also plays an important thing. The last occurrence of the style plays a vital role. Okay, because it will the last only ultimately win in the order. Okay. Inheritance. So inheritance, the object oriented concept, the inheritance is what the child will inherit the properties of parent class. That is the concept of inheritance. Similarly, in your CS in CSS also the inheritance plays an important. What is if parent has one property, that property will be inherited by the child. Okay, that is a CSS inheritance. Example. See here, this is a body tag, and this is an example for a list. We are going to create an unordered list. See the descendant tag is a list, and the element inside and the content inside the list is list item outside, and span, we have an inline element span inside. Okay, a span. Okay, so the content is the content is list item outside and inside a span, and we have inline element content is inside. So if you want to change this property of inside content, the inline tag is specified here. Okay. Next thing is paragraph. What is the paragraph content? Again, embedded paragraph, it's an outside, and we have a span inline elements, and content. The content is inside the span. So we have two different what is it? That is list as well as para. Two different HTML element, and the HTML content inside list is list item outside and inside a span, and paragraph, embedded paragraph outside and inside a span. Now see, there is some this is syntactic. Okay, how the presentation of this thing will be changed. See here, first one, the CSS property, the first one, for it's an what type of selector it is? It's an element selector, because you are choosing only one element. Okay, body, inside the declaration block you are giving as a bolt. Okay, the first one is the body. The body means the entire thing, the entire content, the list as well as paragraph is bold. Okay. Second, list element selector, the font style is italic. Okay. See, you can notice the changes. The changes appeared. All the content inside the body is bold. Okay. And list becomes italic. List become italic. See, you can notice inside the list only we have paragraph. Okay, the end is here. So what happens? These two content become italic. Okay, you can note italic. Next thing is paragraph font size is larger. You can see this is a paragraph. The font given here is comparatively to this one, compared to the first list item, second list item. What happened is compared to previous content, here you can notice the size is very large. The size is very large. Okay. Next thing is span. Span here is you have to give the weight. The weight comes in three variety: normal, bold, small, medium, like that. Okay. See here, you are using as a normal. Okay, weight as a normal. So ultimately, what happened? The span concept is it will change only the inline content. Okay, it will change only the inline content. The content is inside. Here also we have the span. The content is inside. You can notice these two inside. Okay, inside. Okay, it changes into normal, not bold. Okay, it changes into normal. Okay, so what is the concept of inheritance is? See here, inside the this body is the parent, and UL is the child. Okay, and UL is the parent and LI is the child. LI is the parent and P is the child. If you take P, all the properties has been applied. Okay, if you take LI, the property of UL and body is applied. If you take UL, the body property is applied. What the body property is? Bold. Okay. So that is the concept of inheritance. So inheritance, so the child will take the properties of parent. Okay, that is an example. So next topic here is font properties. So what is a font? So you are using HTML content. The HTML content is made up of characters, group of characters. Okay. The group of character here is a represent in a font. Okay, we name it as a font. Okay, so font, how you can represent the font variety of property. The font family, say for example Verdana, Times New Roman. Okay, so like this you can Courier. Okay, so these are comes under the because the you can see the changes. Okay, of the font. The size also changes, and the style also changes. Okay, the font family, font size, font weight, font style, font variant, and font. Okay, So there are many properties applied to font. The basic for how you are going to apply the font properties is with the help of this font family, font size, font weight, font style and font variant. So we can go one by one. Font family. So what is a font family? A font family is a collection of related font which is typically differ in size, weight, etc. A family, you know, the family is a collection of font. That collection of related font, okay, is a font family. Example, see here we have font family, font family, font family properties. The element, the property value is Courier, Monospace, Arial, Tribute, MS, Verdana, Sans Serif. So variety of families are available. So in your document, okay, in your document we have variety of HTML elements. So for variety of HTML element, which font family should be applied? Okay, so that font family properties can be modified by this rules. Okay, by this syntax. Okay, see here the font family, what the value is, one or more font or generic font family usually separated by commas. See here commas. Okay. Default. By default, so if I not given any property for body or teletype text or paragraph, so what the font family for the respective document is, it depends upon the browser. It is, suppose browser will choose the default as Verdana, then the default will be the default font family for all the HTML element will be Verdana only. Okay. Whether this font family applies to all element? Yes. Okay, it is applies to all element. Next thing is inheritance. Whether inheritance is possible? Yes, inheritance is also possible. So what is a font family? The collection of related fonts. Okay. See here, the body has font family Arial. The teletype is a font family either Courier or Monospace. The choice for paragraph either, suppose this font is available in your browser, this will be displayed. Otherwise this font is not available, then it moves to the second choice Verdana. If it is not available, then it is moved to Sans Serif. Okay. If it's all three are available, then first preference will be given for Tribute MS. Okay. Next thing is font size. Okay. Many properties such as font size have a value that is a CSS length. Okay. See, font size has some length. Okay. You can notice how the length differ is by giving the values. Okay. The length may be in percentage or some units. Okay. The length may be the font size. The length may be in percentage or in units. Okay. So we have what the defined values for font size given in CSS is XX small, X small. XX small is very very small, small, medium, large, very large, very very large, smaller, larger, and as well as inert. So these choices can be given for the font size whenever it is needed. By default, it will choose the middle part, that is medium size. The font size will be default, and it is the font size is also applied to all the HTML elements. Inheritance, yes, the inheritance is also possible. Okay, so all CSS length values except 0 needs units, or the unit here is length units. See here, the unit identifier given for the length is the font size is represent either inches, centimeter, millimeter, point, pica. Pica is 12 point. Okay, point is 1 by 72 inches. Okay, px pixel, pixel represent 1 by 96 inches. Okay, next thing is em. Em represents reference font size. Reference font size, we can see the next. See the text here. Em, this is a text. Okay, M, capital M and X. Okay, See here, EM refers to the height. EM refers to the font height, okay, the size representation. Suppose if I increase the value of EM, then this height will, the M height will be increased, okay. PX, that is EX also refers to the height of X, okay. It's height of M, height of X, okay. The total gives the cell height and the bottom denotes the cell bottom, okay. And where the size, where the height value calculated for your font is from the baseline, okay. From the baseline only the height will be either increased or decreased, okay, based upon the value given in units, okay. So this is a major important in what? The CSS length, where you are going to define the length in the font size. So in font size you are going to define the CSS length. The second step other is percentage. The other way to specify the value for the font size is percentage. See here, our font size is 85%. Okay, you can increase the font size either from 25, 50, or you can increase for 85, 50. Okay, so you increase the font size by giving the percentage value, okay. So what is mean by percentage is, by default the parent has one font size. That font size will be gradually increased, depends upon what? Your percentage. Next thing is absolute size. This is a defined size. It will vary, it will define size. It's a defined size, what happens is, if I define XX small, then very small, that size will be already defined, okay. So if you want to, if you want that kind of sizes, okay, you have to define your font size as font size : XX hyphen small, okay. Next is relative size. So relative size, what's the keyboard you are used is smaller or larger. So relative size is relative to parent elements font. It's relative to parent element font. Okay, suppose if you are using any, you are a child element and you are using keyword as smaller, then it is relative to parent elements font. Okay, parent element font is smaller, then your element is smaller. Okay, if your parent element is larger, then your element is larger. So here additional font style properties. We have come across the font family, then we have come across font size, then additional font properties is font style, font weight, font variant. So in font style we have three possible values: normal, italic and oblique. What is a normal? It is an initial thing, okay, it is an initial value. Next, what is italic? Somewhat it is compared to normal, it will take a cursive, okay, slanting, okay, more cursive than normal. What is oblique? It's more slanted, it is more slanted than normal, okay, that is oblique, okay. It's like italic, italic it comes under slanted, oblique comes under curve, okay, more cursive than normal. Next is font weight. So how the weight is represented, either bold or normal. The font weight is represented either bold or normal. So normal is the initial standard values, okay. So these bold or normal are standard values, although other values can be used with font families, okay. Next is font variant. Font variant means either you can use small caps. Suppose you are using if you want to make your font as a small caps, or if you want to make all font as a upper caps, then this thing is possible using font variant. Font variant : small cap, then what happen? It will display the browser, the browser will display all the font into lowercase character. Next, by using uppercase clips, then uppercase will be displayed, okay, by using uppercase, that is upper caps, then uppercase will be displayed, okay. Or if you want to no need for small caps or uppercase, then by default it is a normal. Okay, you can specify it as a normal. Okay, so in all three cases we have default, there is normal, it's an initial value. So if you're not using any this property, so your font will always take this initial value only. Suppose if you are using any font style as italic, then this normal will be override by italic. If your font weight is bold, then its normal is override by bold. If your font variant is small cap, then it is normal is override by small caps. Okay. So we have a font shortcut property. See here, the last one is font shortcut property. So what is shortcut is, you can use all kind of combinations inside the declaration block. Okay, any order. So it can be in any order. See here, this is equivalent to this one. See here, the font style is italic. Okay, then the font variant is normal. Then font weight is bold. Okay, the font size is 12 point. Okay, next is line height is normal, and last thing is font families Helvetica, either Helvetica or Helvetica or sans serif. So here what happened here is, so instead of writing all these kind of properties, okay, different properties, we can make it in a single property as a font, and with a colon, and give the values. That's enough. Okay, you can give the italic space, bold space, 12 point space, Helvetica space, sans serif. So what happened? So your font will automatically changes to italic type, bold type, size will get 12 point. Okay, and it chooses the Helvetica family. Okay. Next thing is, see here, it can be in any order. Okay, so you can see this is it should not be in same order. Okay, you can change the order. Okay, see here, bold comes first, oblique, small caps. Okay, 12 point /2 times human. Next thing is serif. So here this combination bold, oblique, small caps can be in any order. Okay, this part can be in any order. Next thing is size and family required is order dependent. The size what they are given is order dependent. So you should not change the family to come front, and next thing is what, the size at the back side. So it should be in like line, it should be in like what, the size should become first and family should become next. So this second half is an order dependent, whereas this the weight, style, okay, so this weight, style and variant, okay, these can be in any order. So this should be the size and family should be in order dependent. Okay, so the font is reduces the minimizes the code. Okay, CSS code. It merges all the lines of CSS code into a single line. Next thing is text formatting. Here the previous case we have seen the font formatting. Now we are going to see about the text formatting. So what are the properties available to change the behavior of the text? That is, the first one is the text decoration. Okay, how you can decorate the text is, you can underline the text, overline the text, or line through the text, or space separated a list of values other than none. Okay, so these kinds of values can be given. Again, for these all property there is some initial value. Okay, you can notice there is an initial value. So if you not given not specifically given define this CSS property, by default your HTML element will take this initial value. Suppose if you have specified this property with underline, that initial value is override by underline. Okay, see here, this is an underline example. Okay, you have the text and you have underline. So the text decoration colon underline means what happened? The CSS text formatting text will become what, underlined text. Okay. Next thing is next property is letter spacing. So letter spacing is the length representing additional space to be included between your adjacent letters in word. So you have the space between your each and every letter, okay, adjacent letters, okay, that thing is given in letter spacing in the measurement of what? Length, okay. So negative value indicates the space is removed, okay, the negative value indicates the space should be removed, okay. Next thing is word spacing. So the space between the word is also can be given as a property, okay. Again here the negative value indicates the space will be removed for two different words, okay, or adjacent words, okay. Next thing is text transformation. So we can change all the text into capitalize or uppercase or lowercase. That is capitalize means it will capitalize the first character, okay. See this is the first character is capitalized, first character is capitalized, first character is capitalized. Whereas uppercase, see here this text CSS is all uppercase, okay. Next is text indent. So indent meaning here is the percentage of the box width, okay. The text from the text and the difference between the text and the box width, okay. The difference between the text and the box width you can see later, okay. The text indent it also comes with possibly a negative value, okay. Next, text align. So how the position of the text should be? See here, this is a right align, this is a center align, okay, okay, left, right, okay, or justified, okay. So these things can be made using text align. White space. So you can use white space by either PRE, okay, PRE, okay, you can use to indicate whether or not white space should be retained. So you can use PRE. So what happened? If you are typing paragraph, okay, using paragraph tag, there will be multiple spaces given in between the lines. What the use of PRE is used to indicate whether the white space should be retained or not retained, okay. If you want to retain, then you have to use PRE tag, okay. So next, the foremost is the font color. How you can change the property of the font color? There are two ways for specifying the color in CSS. The one thing is the direct. You can specify the color name directly. Okay, we have the variety of color. Okay, and its color name. If you want a full list of different colors, okay, the keywords you can visit this URL, okay, w3org, okay, this URL path, and you can refer all keywords mapped with their respective colors, okay. Then second thing is we have RGB values, okay. Based upon this RGB values, the color properties has been set to the text, okay. See here, we have color palette, okay. You can choose this color from the color palette. You can choose red, green, blue. By changing this red, green, blue value, then the color value will be picked from the color palette. So this color palette is available in W3 or some online color palette tools. Also you can able to customize the color, okay. So these by selecting the color from this color palette, you can change the behavior of the text color, okay. This is an example for RGB. See here, in HTML coding, this RGB values can be given. CSS style sheet, the RGB values given. If you have integer argument, like see here, integer argument 255, 170, 0, by increasing by changing this RGB red, green, blue values, then the color will be changes, okay. Next thing is also the percentage argument. See here, 100%, some example, okay, 100% here, that is red, green, blue value percentage. If you change from 0 to 100%, then ultimately what happen, the color value will be changed. Okay, and one more format we have available is hexadecimal. In hexadecimal, see here, the FFAA00 hash. Okay, the first pair of hexadecimal digits represents red intensity. The second pair represents the second and third represents the green and blue. Okay, so if you increase if you change this like AA to BB or something, 00 to 11, then automatically the color will be changes. Okay, by using hexadecimal property, the color property also set. Next, abbreviated hexadecimal. See here, abbreviated hexadecimal is you have to duplicate the first hexadecimal digit. Duplicate the first hexadecimal digit FA to obtain the red intensity, and duplicate the second and third that is green and blue. Okay, so you are duplicating the red, green and blue as a hexadecimal digit. Okay, by varying this digit, the specific color will be displayed. Okay, so there are 4 different formats available. First one is integer argument percentage, second one is percentage, third one is hexadecimal, and abbreviated hexadecimal. Okay, so in CSS you can there are 2 ways you can apply, either by choosing the color name or pick the colors from the color palette, and second thing is you can choose from the RGB values. Okay, the RGB values, either you can choose the RGB values the color palette, or you can choose, or you can directly write the RGB value in CSS code. Okay, so far we have seen the basic about CSS. Then in CSS we have seen many topics, the font families, font type, and so on. So we have seen. Now we are going to see some demos in CSS. Okay. The first thing is we are going to change the font type, color, and size. So listen to this video.
Welcome to the second video on CSS. Today we're going to look at changing the font color, the font type, and the font size. And so let's go ahead and use the source we did from the last video, and let's open that up now. Now you will remember that we created our first rule and that we decided to go ahead and...
So this is a source code which the author has been already created. Now the author going to explain about how the color and how the properties has been changed in the HTML document. We have the document basic HTML tag, document type declaration, HTML tag, header part, okay, header part and body, inside the body we have the paragraph content. You can notice, so what type of style it is applied here is, there are many varieties of style sheets are available. So what style is appeared? Either external, either inline, or either embedded. The answer is it is an embedded. You notice here in embedded only we are using the style tag. Okay, in embedded we are using a style tag. Inside the style tag, the respective property for H1 property is given. Okay, it's an embedded. Okay, it is an embedded style sheet. Now listen to this video.
And style the H1 HTML element right here, and we gave it a background color of purple. And so let's just go ahead and take a look at that again, and there you can see we have our purple background. Now what I want to do is create a new rule. So let's go ahead and do that. And so we just do the same thing we did with the H1 rule. We'll just copy and paste that, and we're going to go ahead and style the P HTML element. So that's right here, this one, everything within here, and everything within here. Now what I want to point out is we said H1 here, and that equated to the H1 header. When you put in P here, and just P, we are going to alter everything, all of the paragraphs that we have in our HTML document, so it will affect everything. both of these P elements. And that's actually very useful. Now, in the old days, before CSS was even around, you would have had to come down to each one of these P elements and put the same code in for each one of these to change the font type or color if you wanted to. You had to put the same code. Now we can do it globally from up here. All we have to do is put the P selector, and then we can go ahead and change everything we want in all the P elements in the HTML document. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of this property here because we're not going to use that. Remember, these are properties, and this is the rule, and this is the selector. So we're going to select again the paragraph element tag, and let's first change the color of the font. Now let's go ahead and save this first, and you can see here that this is the first paragraph we had, and you can see it's in black, and this is the second paragraph element that we had. So let's go ahead back in there, and so let's go ahead and change the color of that font to red. And we will give it a value of red, of course. Now, you'll notice that this background hyphen color, well, that makes a little bit more sense, but for whatever reason, you would have thought this might have been text hyphen color. No, it's just called color. That will change the font's color. And I find that a little bit confusing, but that's the way they did it. So, you can see some of these actually make more sense. This property actually makes more sense. This one just says color. Well, color for what? Well, it is actually the font color, but they chose not to put in font hyphen color or text hyphen color. It's just color. So let's go ahead and save this, and we'll go back in here, and you can see now that we've got our red text. And so let's go back in here, and we'll change the font size, and the actual property for that is just font hyphen size, and again we use a semicolon, and we'll make this 25 px so we can really see this. Use a semicolon, we'll save this again, and we'll open it up, and there you can see we have increased the size of this. Remember, this is a lot smaller. And again, we affect both of the P elements. Okay, so let's close that, and let's go back in here, and now we will actually change the font type. And we come in here and type font family, and let's change this to Helvetica. So we put in our semicolon, let's save this, and we'll reopen this back up, and there you can see we've got our nice Helvetica font. And so that is how you change the font type, the size of the font, and the color. And actually, let's switch back to the source for a minute. I forgot there was one more thing I forgot to say here. This PX, when we changed the font size here, this PX stands for pixels. And so that is the unit of measurement that you use. And basically, that's the size of the text from the bottom all the way to the top. So pixels is the measurement, and that's what you want to put in here. So,
okay, listen. What the author explains here is we have H1 as well as we have H1 as well as paragraph. Okay, two different HTML elements. The property is defined in the embedded style sheets. Okay, the embedded style sheet is introduced in a header part. Okay, the background color is purple. Is defined for heading tag, and the color of the paragraph font size and font family is defined in the paragraph element selector. So what happened? So whenever in the document H1 and paragraphs are available, okay, the property will be changed. Okay. See, you can notice, as I said earlier, the order should be in after size only the family should become. Okay, it should not change as family then change the size. Okay, so see here the font size is 25 pixel, then the font family is Helvetica. Okay, the H1 color will be changed to purple, and the paragraph content will be changed to red. Okay.
Okay, I will see you guys in the next video.
Okay. So thank you.